Hell yeah, man. And these sigils that we draw, they should be doorways and gateways to a specific pocket of intelligence, pocket of
For
information.
sure.
I was talking to my cousin last night. He's been doing heavy work with the elementals. Pretty cool. But these entities are they're not, oh my goodness.
Somebody's mic's open.
Yeah. All right. Just unmute when you're ready, Freddie. Quad hands. But yeah, I was saying that so when you look at these elements, because I've been studying the elementals a lot in conjunction with the tarot cards, and many systems don't consider Earth as an element. They consider Earth as a culmination of all the forces in the universe. If you look at the so-called flat Earth theory, just look at the cosmology there. What we know of as Earth, matter, the densest aspect of Prakriti, is this infinite field, right, of just density. Um, Everything falls down into it, all the forces above. So we're looking at Kabbalah here from Kether on down. All the planetary energies fall down, astrological energies fall down into Earth. Now, let's look at this. Now, when you plant a seed into the ground, the seed itself doesn't move. But once you plant it into the ground and you give it some fire, which is sunlight, you give it some air, you give it some water, those active elements work on that seed, but it uses the earth as a womb to gestate, to grow within, and then it sprouts out and becomes what it's supposed to be. The earth didn't do anything but serve as an incubator, right? So in a very similar manner, when we look at these entities, when I refer to spirits and whatnot, I refer to them as pockets of intelligence, pockets of data, pockets of information. Spirits and entities don't have a personality. They're not people floating around waiting to talk to you. It's literally like data, just like the infinite internet is just a bunch of data that you access. So when you're conversing with a spirit, there's things that can and should be remembered in order to have a more efficient result. What I'm saying is if you come into contact with a spirit and you ask it a question, it's going to give you an answer that you probably already knew. Has anybody had that experience? You ask a spirit a question and it literally tells you some shit you could have thought of yourself all the time, right? Because what else is it going to tell you? When we deal with these spirits, I said it's a pocket of information, pocket of data. It's a reflection as well. So when you open up that pocket of data, it uses you as much as you're using it, reaches into your unconscious mind and it feeds you back what you have access to. The spirit's only able to present to you what you already know. If you're only approaching it from the ego level, from the surface level. So I learned a while ago to not summon these spirits and just ask it a question, when will I find my twin flame? Or how can I make this amount of money? Or how can I do this? Because if you do that, you're going to get the answer that you know you're going to get. So what I've learned to do is kind of look at the layer, right? The question itself is at the top layer, surface layer. But if you really just be patient and listen to yourself, there's an impulse for that question, right? So if I say, when am I going to find my twin flame? What I'm actually saying is, I'm lonely. I feel incomplete. I need some companionship. That's not so much a question, but an unserved desire. So when you approach these spirits from that angle, not the surface level question, because with that surface level dry question, you're going to get a surface level dry answer. But when you are able to tap into the depths of yourself, the roots of that question that you would ask, you're going to get an answer that relates. But just like that seed that I mentioned is planted into the earth, it's going to take a little bit of time for the correct answer to flourish. So all that to say, when we're dealing with these entities, the human body itself, we are the earth element. So the spirits don't have an ego. They don't have a mind. They use our ego. They use our mind as an interface to communicate. So it's one thing to be cautious of. People are always like, well, how do I know I'm not working with a counterfeit spirit? How do I know it's the right spirit? How am I not going to be deceived? That's literally all on you, buddy. That's literally all on you. If your entire life is you lying to yourself, you have no choice but to deal with counterfeit spirits because you yourself are a counterfeit spirit. Does this make practical sense? Or would someone need any different type of clarification?
That was pretty clear, Trey.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So spirits are akin to like enzymes. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a function, but no mind of their own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like enzymes just, they help to break down food, but they don't actually have a life of their own. They just have a function.
Right.
And they have their life through the digestion of food, doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? And their being is carried out through the mind of us. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I got you.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. So I brought that up in relation to the sigil. The sigil of these entities should be a focal point for us to connect with the depth of our own personal understanding of what we're working with. So say, for example, I want to work with Satan and I get myself a pentagram. If my conception of Satan is surface level, red guy with the horns, and he tortures people in hell, and I just want to see something spooky. That's what I'm concentrating on when I see that sigil. But if I do a little bit of study, a little bit of research, and I learn how to identify the concepts of this pocket of intelligence with a deeper understanding, that's what I connect with when I gaze upon that sigil. And hopefully what should happen is you open up that aspect of yourself that is in correspondence with your understanding of that spirit.
Connecting two ends of the same cord. That's what it means in the Bible when they say you do all you can do and then you stand.
Yeah. Take 2 steps and let God.
Sometimes it's hard to find different types of correspondence to different spirits. You have some books, the main books everyone put out already. But sometimes when you deal with these ones that I've never heard of before, you can't find any information on to even develop a correspondence.
Okay. Excellent presentation there. So it helps to understand also that every spirit, I don't care who it is, where they came from, has a correspondence to the planets, to astrology in general, to astrology and the elements. If you can find those two, half the battle's complete for you. The spirit in question, are you able to find an astrological significance or an elemental significance?
Yeah, sometimes I find I do find elemental significance, whether it's like an air or a water or a ground, earth sign.
Okay.
Are related to.
Okay, so if you're able to pinpoint the elemental significance, you can start studying from the periphery. So what I mean is, if the spirit Bojack, I can't find any correspondences, but I know he's a fire spirit. Right. I can start studying fire in general, and I can compare what I'm learning to what I want him to do or what he's supposedly. You see what I'm saying? Like you start to cross-reference and compare.
Yeah.
Until you reach a sufficient answer.
Right. That's good, Trav. I like that.
It's correspondences, right? The reason they give so many is because there's a bunch of different connections for a bunch of different people, right? Because we all are different and we all have different perspectives. So a correspondence that may be like like the unicorn may be something different on my side. You know what I'm saying? But have the same kind of, I guess, background energy. To it, you know what I'm saying? But it connects me from my perspective, you know what I mean? But it's similar, you know what I mean? It's, we're looking at the same thing, but it's like looking at the same thing from different angles, and it having light shined on it from a certain angle. You're gonna see a shadow on a certain side, and I'm not because I'm looking at it from this side, but we looking at the same shit.
Right.
That's like the Orishas in Santeria, they all have different aspects of this Orishas. They all have, you have one Orisha that have all these multiple different aspects of them. So it all depends on the culture, whether it's Santeria or Voodoo or just the regular Ifa.
Yes.
All religions are like that, man. I mean, all pantheons are like that. You go into the Greek pantheon and you talk about, like Venus, and she got a beard in some aspects, you know what I'm saying? So they cross-referencing all of them energies too. It's like making a smoothie. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You got strawberries, you got bananas, and let's add a little bit of kale. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I think is that the symbolism of the cauldron?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's excellent. And what we're talking about here is what happens when we address a single focal point and understanding the difference between the macrocosm and the microcosm, right? That's what we're really dealing with these tarot cards. The reason that we have so many different correspondence is we have to understand that there's those two different levels that I mentioned. In the macrocosm, something has an absolute uh, frequency, something has an absolute presence, definition. Its purpose and function is absolute. It is what it is for real. But since the material manifested plane is limited, its expression, that absolute thing, its expression in the microcosm, it can only be a slice of that, right? The same, like say on the highest level, the name of God is a 72 letter name, right? But in the physical plane or in the manifest dimension, what you got? 72 angels, 72 goetic spirits. You can only work with one at a time. Can't work with them all because that's something you have to work your way up to. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
that's a lot of
likewise,
work.
with these different correspondences, what we're looking at is an impulse that does not exist within space and time, and we're trying to describe it by space and time words. So of course, depending on this, we're trying to ground it. So of course, depending on the time that you're in and the space that you're in, definition is going to come out a little bit different.
Right, and that's why Dion said that you know, if these energies die down, you know, people that have the right correspondences and all of those things can wake them back up because it's just a matter of connecting the link back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They showed us this in American Gods.
Mm-hmm.
Because it ain't
And we're
never lost. It's still it's just in the soup, you know, it's in the cosmic soup, and you got to bring it down and make it, you know, and bring it down and match it with what is specific to on the material plane, right?
mm-hmm. And reveal that connection, like you said, connecting those two lines of that power cord. In this case, once those two lines are connected, what we want to come to an understanding of is the electricity that flows between.
Right. And that's what they name it when they name it gods. They name it that specific string that's being plucked right there.
Mm-hmm. Now let's expand. So let's say we begin to understand that, and we begin connecting dots, and we begin understanding with different gods and spirits to the point that maybe we have a full harp of 78 different strings, right? What do you think are some of the understandings that would rise once one has seen God from different angles? Hold on, and let me say this. What do you think, what kind of understandings would arise once you begin to see God from different angles and seeing correspondences in the manifest dimension that correspond to those angles?
That is all the same thing. I mean, you start to like you say, see God from all of those different angles, and you make a correspondence to all of those. Now you can start seeing the underlying thing behind all things. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And then it'll give you a more, I guess, comprehensive idea of what you're looking at when you're looking at the things that correspond to those 78 strings that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be sort of like learning the theory of music now, instead of just playing the instruments. You know the theory behind it.
Right now you could just flow.
Yep.
Now you can just flow.
You just pluck the right
Mm-hmm.
strings that you want.
Yep.
Right. Now it's imagination. Now it's like whatever comes out up comes out and it all flows together because you got a complete you got idea first because you got theory, which is correspondence, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have skill, or not skill, skill would be matching those correspondences to those energies. And now you
Skills
can
and
just
practice.
now you can just play.
Hmm.
So let me illustrate this as well. So we've got an Orphic magician and we have a Hermetic magician. Based off the metaphor that we're using here, you have some people that can just play by ear, freestyle, and create a song based off of feeling the music, making the right notes according to how it sounds and feels to them. Then you got other composers who can write a song without listening or plucking anything. They can write it because based off their knowledge. Say, for example, someone like Beethoven, who was deaf, but understood those vibrations so intricately. We've got the Hermetic magician and we got the Orphic magician. I remember a girl told me um, that took the course. She said that she didn't have the money to pay for the course, so she went outside and plucked 2 leaves off of her tree and wrote 100 on each of those, put them under her pillow. The next day, she manifested $200. That's an Orphic magician that's just playing it by ear because they know how it sounds. Whereas a Hermetic magician, right, you're going to go get the appropriate spirit, you're going to go get this correspondence and that correspondence, go into trance and do your thing. It's
Yeah,
not a
that
question of
Orphic
which
stuff.
method.
I'm
It's
sorry,
not a
Jeff. Go
question of,
ahead.
not a method of which, not a matter of which method is better. It's a method of you finding out what your style is.
Right. Like anything, like fighting. There's different styles. You got the brawler. You got the trickster. You got the I mean, it's so many. It's like 6 or 7 different fighting styles, and those fighting styles are according to the personality of the person. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna have a trickster fighting style and you be a straight laced person. Or you might, because that may be how you express yourself. That may be a shadow, and the way the shadow may express itself. You know what I'm saying? I can't rule that out. But it is definitely according to your personality and how you express yourself in that fight. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So that Orphic style and that Hermetic style, and I'm pretty
Daily
sure there's
rhythms.
grades of those things. I'm pretty sure there's not just cut and dry Orphic, cut and dry
Yeah.
Hermetic. It's different grades. Because I know I love study, but I'm creative as hell. You know what I'm saying? So and the study just fuels the creativity. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So
I'm like Freddy. I sit in the middle. I'm like the gray Jedi.
Yeah. Now, speaking of this, we've got this 3 pillars, right? The Hermetic path, of course, representing the left-hand path of Pod, and the right path of Netzach being that Orphic path. But of course, we've got that middle path. And that's where you find Tifereth. That's where you find Yesod. That's where you find Doth. And most importantly, that's where you find Kether.
Catherine,
Mhm.
you man, it's crazy when this stuff just
Peace.
starts to it just starts to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like, you don't, it's like you're reading the words, but so many more things are coming out of you while you're reading the words or after you read the words. Mine is after I read the words, I go get in the shower and I guess because I'm a Scorpio, I get all these downloads because I'm water. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? But like it just unfolds. You know what I'm saying? When I go, I'll read and I'll sit here and I'll, you know, analyze for a minute, and then I'll go down and right before bed, and it just opens up, and it's like, damn. And then I forget most of the shit.
Yeah. Or at least it goes into the unconscious, like
It
that
goes into
seed.
yeah, right.